Good morning and welcome to the judges, teachers, guests, and participants of FRSIS 2024. Now, I would like to introduce our judges today. The chief judge is Madam Rosnani Binti Nazri, Senior Lecturer, Faculty of Applied Science, UiTM, Arau Perlis. The second judge is Mr. Muhammad Farhan bin Adnan from Sekolah Sultan Alam Shah. And the third judge is Ms. Shafika Amira binti Saleh from Sekolah Menengah Sains Pasir Putih, and I, Diada Mia binti Muhammad Ridwan from SBP Integrasi Gopeng, while the timekeepers, Nur Afika Humaira binti Zairul Azhar and Joanna Vishela binti Muhammad Rohaizan are from Sekolah Menengah Sains Tuanku Said Putra, Perlis. Now, allow me to read the rules. Each team should consist of presenters and a technical assistant. The presentation must focus on the sub-theme assigned to the team. The duration of the presentation should not be more than 10 minutes. The bell will be rung once at the 9th minute and twice at the 10th minute. A question and answer session will be conducted after each presentation. Now, let's hear from the first team, Sekolah Menengah Sains REMBAU, to present.
Thank you, kind moderator. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good morning, honorable judges, respected timekeeper, and fellow attendees. My name is Nordiama Batrisha binti Aswandi, and this is my teammates.
My name is Wan Nukman Arif bin Muhammad Farid, and let me introduce you to some of our other teammates. We have Muhammad Afif as the rapporteur and Amizah as the technical assistant.
Welcome to our presentation on tourism awareness, educating on environmental responsibility for as part of the Fully Residential Schools International Symposium 2024. Today, we will discuss the impact of tourism on the conservation efforts in the Kinabalu Park, Sabah, Malaysia. To begin with, let's start an overview of Kinabalu Park and the problem statement.
Honorable judges, Kinabalu Park, renowned for its scenic landscape and rich biodiversity, has seen thousands of visitors annually since its establishment in 1964. However, continuous tourism activity has led to significant environmental degradation. However, continuous tourism activity has led to significant environmental degradation, posing a severe challenge to conservation efforts by park authorities. Studies have highlighted that the rapid growth of mass tourism has caused substantial environmental damage, raising concerns about its sustainability. Furthermore, the uncontrolled carbon emissions resulting from tourism development contribute to vicious cycle of environmental pollution, exacerbating climate change and hindering the sustainable development efforts. By addressing these issues, we not only protect the park's unique ecosystem, but also contribute to global climate change mitigation. To set the context, let us define two key terms of our research. The first one being biodiversity, which refers to the variety of living things or species in a given area, while conservation is a careful preservation or protection of natural resources. Understanding these terms are crucial as we explore the effect of tourism on Kinabalu parks. Today, we will present to all of you about our research findings on how tourism affects the Kinabalu Park's forest, the perception and awareness of the public, and our recommendations for potential solutions that will ensure the future success.
So, for our first objective here, assessing the impact of tourism on conservation efforts in Kinabalu Park. This park, known for its breathtaking landscapes and rich in biodiversity, is also facing significant environmental challenges due to continuous tourism. Referring to a past article, we have reviewed outcomes from 20 interviews conducted upon Kinabalu Park staff regarding environmental issues within the park. Key issues identified include the introduction of invasive species, 35%, soil degradation, 10%, food-heavy traffic, garbage accumulation, and bad smells, 20%, visitors plucking flowers and disturbing animals, 20%, and general littering, 15%. These activities can harm the park's ecosystem and biodiversity. To combat these issues, park authorities have implemented several conservation efforts. These include the relocation of endemic plants, briefings by mountain guides, annual cleanup initiatives, and programs aiding the elimination invasive species like dandelions. However, the tourism continues to disrupt these efforts, with dandelion elimination programs proving ineffective long-term and garbage accumulation persisting despite the availability of rubbish bins across the vicinity. Addressing these challenges requires enhanced public awareness and promoting responsible tourism practices to help preserve Kinabalu Park's unique ecosystem for future generations.
Moving on to our second objective, which is evaluating public perception and awareness of the effect of tourism on park conservation. We used a questionnaire survey to gather data on public perception and awareness. And here is a breakdown of our respondents' background. Our survey respondents comprised a diverse group of individuals, varying in gender, being that they are 43% male and 57% female. Next, the student or worker status, in which we have received responses from 63% students and 37% workers. For our location graph percentage, most of our respondents come from urban areas, which is 68%, and the leftover 32% of them being from rural areas. Last but not least, we have three types of education background of our respondents. The blue color represents secondary education, which are the high school students. The red color being tertiary education, which has the largest percentage of our respondents, included university and college students. And lastly, the green one is the postgraduates. This diversity helps us to ensure that our findings are representative of the broader population. Our data shows mixed public perception regarding the impact of tourism on park conservation. For example, only a small percentage of respondents strongly agreed with being aware of the environmental impact, confident in their knowledge to contribute to conservation, or informed about the park's conservation efforts. After analyzing our data outcomes, these are the findings that we have collected. Surprisingly, only 2 out of 6 respondents are aware about the effects of tourism on the park's conservation, and 4 out of 6 respondents did not know how to contribute to this biodiversity conservation. These highlight a significant gap in public knowledge and awareness.
To address these issues, we recommend and we formulate an education program designed to improve conservation efforts. This program aims to raise awareness, inform the public about the importance of the biodiversity, and encourage active participation in conservation activities. The framework for our education programs includes comprehensive educational materials, interactive sessions, and community engagement initiatives. These components provide a thorough understanding of conservation and the role of each individual can play.
In conclusion, our study demonstrates that while there are ongoing conservation efforts, more needs to be done to educate the public and involve them in these activities. By implementing an education program, we can enhance public awareness and participation, ultimately aiding in the preservation of Kinabalu Park's biodiversity.
That is all from us. Thank you for your attention, honorable judges and respected timekeeper. We are now open to any questions you may have. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Now, I would like to invite the audience to ask questions. If there is no question from the audience, I would like to invite the judges to ask questions.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A very good presentation. Okay. So just a quick question for me. From the presentation, you as a group, which park conservation efforts do you think needs to be done more in order to make a difference? Okay, based on the ones that you have just noted, the dandelion elimination stuff. Which park conservation efforts do you believe needs to be carried out more so that you would have better conservation efforts?
Thank you for your question. I believe a conservation effort that should be carried out more by park authorities of Kinabalu Park, our investigation site, is that they should do more dandelion elimination programs. This is because tourism has brought a wave of invasive species such as dandelions onto the park's vicinity, which is disturbing the natural ecosystems that live there. While there are already dandelion elimination programs that are carried out there annually, it continues to disturb the ecosystems there as tourism continues to persist in this area. I hope that answers your question.
All right, okay. I have one question here. According to your list of affected causes towards the Kota Kinabalu Park, there's a few, but the most contribution comes from the invasive species. So can you explain more on that, if in that course, and what could affect that, and what is your conservation effort towards that? And others than that, I would like you to explain more on the what type of contribution that might contribute and how you can help to resolve the problem. Thank you.
Thank you for the questions. Let me answer your questions. So most of the effect of tourism from our research is invasive species. So how this invasive species is at the Kinabalu Park. So invasive species comes from dandelions. The example that dandelions is fly and stick to the visitor clothes and spark around the park. So this increase the invasive species which harms the ecosystem there, which is like the flora and the fauna. Is that answer your questions?
Yes, I would like you to explain more on other contribution. Other than invasive species, there is a few more. Can you explain more on the other contribution?
Sorry, thank you for your question. So you are asking about what other effects onto the park lah, onto the park. Besides invasive species, there's also garbage accumulation and bad smells, soil degradation, littering. And these are some of the effects that have come from tourism activities conducted upon Kinabalu Park. To explain about littering, even though there are rubbish bins that are already prepared around the park, they are already prepared in the places that visitors are most likely to come and visit. Visitors still do not want to throw their trash in those rubbish bins. This is because of their lack of awareness regarding the environment, and they also prefer to not care about the environment, even though the place is rich with biodiversity, and it is something that we should all protect for our younger generations. I hope that answers your question.
Right, okay, thank you.
Maximum only 2 questions. Thank you, judges, for the questions, and thank you, SMS REMBAU, for the interesting presentation. Now, all of you can have a seat. Thank you. And gentlemen, now I would like to invite Sekolah Tuanku Abdul Rahman to present their presentation.
Beekeepers in the United States of America have reported recently that the honeybees that they currently manage have been disappearing since April 2022 to April 2023. Have you ever wondered how do bees play a major role in sustaining our biodiversity? Assalamualaikum warahmatullah and a very good morning. My name is Amma and today I will be presenting on Buzzing Back, creative solutions for protecting bees and our food future. But before I get further ado into my presentation, I would like to thank judges, moderators, timekeepers, teachers, and friends. This presentation is brought to you by me and my fellow colleagues from Sekolah TUANKU Abdul Rahman Ipoh, consisting of me, Amma, as the presenter, Mio Aiman over there as the tech assist, Akil Ryan as the moderator, and Adam Haman as the rapporteur. In this presentation, I would like to deliver the research methodology that we use, objectives regarding this presentation, issues regarding bees in today's society, and lastly, solutions on overcoming these issues. Some of the various methods that we use in obtaining our data is by interview and research. On behalf of interview, we recently conducted an interview with a fellow beekeeper outside of our school compound. This method is very fundamental for us as we are obtaining data from someone who directly handles bees. Moving on to research. We study scholarly articles and establish websites as it is important to take in every little detail there is about bees. Moving on. The objectives of this presentation is to figure out why bees are going extinct, the effect of the extinction of bees towards our society, and lastly, solutions towards the extinction of bees. Before I carry on, there are two key terms that I would like to state with me today. Number one is pollination, which refers to the act of transferring pollen grains from the male anther of a flower to the female stigma, while inflation refers to a general increase in prices and fall in the purchasing value of money. Bees are related to my topic today because bees are known as the world's #1 pollinators. Bees play a key and vital role in biodiversity by undergoing pollination. When bees undergo pollination, they leave us with most of the food that we consume today, such as apples and peaches. The major issues regarding bees in today's society is that bees are facing extinction. When bees are facing extinction, it leaves us with a food crisis for humanity, especially in the US and Europe. With the rapid decline of bee population, it leaves them with global crops decreasing and facing inflation. This graph shows the comparison between the number of beehives in the year 1969 and 2019. However, this pie chart states that 75% of the global crops that we consume today is mostly pollinated by bees. Some of the factors causing this problem are nature factors and agriculture factors. On behalf of nature factors, it could be divided into nature parasites and climate change. For example, murder hornets, known as nature parasites, invade bee colonies by feeding on larvae and adult bees. If this invasion is left untreated properly, it could most likely result in a rapid decline of bees in a short matter of time. Bees are well known as fuzzy creatures, and did you know that they generate heat while flying? However, the National Geographic Department states that the last 5 years have been the hottest years ever recorded in history, making bees either migrate or die. Moving on to agriculture factors. For those of you who don't know what monoculture is, monoculture refers to the planting of one type of plant in a big field. Monoculture often leads to habitat loss. These habitats are essential for wild bees because bees either pollinate and reproduce in these habitats. Other than leading to habitat loss, it also results in the disruption of ecosystem consisting of plants, pollinators, and other wildlife. And monoculture heavily relies on chemical pesticide usage. Although it is said that these chemicals are to manage and control pests, but however, it actually disrupts the natural behaviors of bees and the way they reproduce. Moving on, what are some solutions that we could provide in avoiding this crisis? Some of them include law reinforcement, research, education, and conservation and restoration. The first solution, which is law reinforcement. The government should ban and restrict harmful pesticides. This action has been taken globally by many countries already, but it has to be more broad and more firm. Other than restricting and banning harmful pesticides, the government should also enforce the emission reduction on greenhouse gas, which intimidates the climate. With the climate changing, bees will either migrate or die. Moving on to the second solution, which is restoration and conservation. We should conserve natural habitats of bees, such as meadows and forests. But other than conserving, we should also restore degraded habitats of bees by planting new trees. And lastly, we should also prepare more urban green spaces, especially in cities, to show a bee-friendly environment. The third solution is by education. School systems should introduce pollinator education into the systems to educate the young generation on the importance of bees. Other than that, schools should also prepare more school trips to nature reserves and maintain their school garden as a curriculum integration. We should fully utilize television and print medias to spread the awareness on the importance of bees to the public. Other than that, community events such as lectures and workshops should be held. For example, World Bee Day that is celebrated annually on the 20th of May. This day is celebrated to dedicate the importance of bees towards our biodiversity. Moving on to the final solution, which is research. We should invest in research so that researchers could determine the pathogens that disrupt the harmony of bees. When these pathogens are determined and studied, scientists and militologists could come up with new treatment ways to extend the lifespan of bees. To conclude everything that I have stated in this presentation, we should not underestimate the life of a bee, because bees play a key role in making the world a better place today. That is all from me. Thank you very much.
Now I would like to invite the audience to ask questions.
Assalamualaikum and a very good morning. First, I would like to congratulate you on having a very nice presentation. It's very understandable and very fast-paced and good. The only question that I have is more of a clarification where during the problem statement, it was stated that invasive species such as murder hornets would be a detriment or a threat to bees. And in the solution, we were never really clarified on how this problem was solved. Do clarify.
Could you repeat the question?
During the presentation of the problem statement, it was stated that one of the issues or one of the detriments towards bees is invasive species such as murder hornets. In this solution, it was never really detailed how this problem was mitigated. Please clarify.
Murder hornets, given by the name nature parasites, they feed on larvae and adult bees. And if this continues, the bees population rapidly declines in a short matter of time. Some of the solutions on overcoming these nature parasites is by expanding more predators towards these murder hornets, because murder hornets compared to bees are more aggressive and more territorial. Does that answer your question?
Okay, to add more to that, to Amar's point, is that we can keep a good hygiene to the beehive. How we can do this is by doing daily checkups on the beehive. Because why? Murder hornets, they tend to go to hives that have a bad smell because that's what they are attracted to. So if we keep up a good hygiene, murder hornets wouldn't be attracted and there will be less attacks towards the bees.
Assalamualaikum. I wanted to ask, how can the decline in bee populations be quantitatively linked to specific ecosystem services, and what are the potential long-term consequences for biodiversity and agricultural productivity if current trends continue?
Yeah, Assalamualaikum. That is a very good question, actually. But let me explain. So in the previous slide, we did mention about bees pollinating over 75% of our crops, such as fruits, trees, and all of that. If the decline of bees increase, we will start to see a bunch of our crops slowly decrease, and we might not see them in future generations. What this means that our future generations don't get to experience things such as apples, maybe even peaches. Does that answer your question? Any other questions?
Maximum only 2 questions. Maximum only 2 questions. Thank you, Sekolah Tuanku Abdul Rahman, for presenting. All of you can take a seat now. Now, let us welcome the team from Sekolah Menengah Atas Negeri 1 Purworeho, Indonesia, to present your presentation.
Thank you, moderator. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good morning, everyone, and our respectful judges. We are very glad to be able to stand here with all of you today in this event of FRSIS 2024. All the way from Penang to Perlis, we have seen various biodiversity, and it was really amazing. However, we are now facing a problem about extinction in our world. According to data from International Union for Conservation of Nature, IUCN, the number of extinction are increasing every year. The world society is lacking of knowledge and awareness about biodiversity around them, so they cannot maintain it properly. However, we, as the leader of tomorrow, must be able to increase our knowledge in order to protect our environment. Hello everyone, we are from SMA Negeri 1 Purworeho, Indonesia. My name is Kevia Tera Ibrahim, and these are my colleagues, Muhammad Alwi Batiar, Alia Putri Hasnaning Tias, Sofia Shiva Hoirunisa, and our supervisors, Miss C and Miss Arwina. Today, we are going to present about how to promote biodiversity conservation.
As we know, biodiversity is an important component that supports human life. According to the Ministry of Environment and Forestry of the Republic of Indonesia, biodiversity is the diversity in living things from all sources, including land, ocean, and other aquatic ecosystems, as well as ecological complexes that are part of their diversity, includes diversity between species. Globally, Indonesia is a home to 12% of mammals, 16% of reptiles and amphibians, 17% of birds, and 17% of plants. Nearly 2/3 of the world's animal and plant species are found in Indonesia. This is supported by the extensive tropical forest areas ranked as second after Brazil. The value and benefits of biodiversity make a huge contribution to human sustainability. This becomes a strong reason why biodiversity conservation must be pursued by various parties. One of the ways to conserve the biodiversity is to improve the quality of human resources by spreading awareness of the importance of conserving biodiversity.
SMA Negeri 1 Purworeho is one of independent adiwiyata, or worldwide known as Go Green School in Indonesia. Independent adiwiyata is a title given by government for schools that can maintain Go Green program at least 3 years in a row. From the data that has been gathered by the school's adiwiyata team, there are 130 species of plants and few species of animals that is appropriate for the school environment. 130 species of plants contain 66 decorative plants, 41 fruiting plants, and 23 woody plants. SMA Negeri 1 Purworeho also has few rare plants such as Waru variegata known as waru putih, Cyanometra cauliflora, Cyanometra browniades as sapu tangan putih, Cyanometra cauliflora known as namnam, and Cerbera manghas known as bintaro. These plants become rare due to the lack of ability to adapt with the environment and the lack of society awareness in understanding plants. Besides, SMA Negeri 1 Purworeho also has Purworeho typical plants such as Garcinia mangostana known as manggis and Manilkara kauki known as sawo kecil. These plants are not considered to be at risk of endangerment, but we still preserve them. Regardless from the abundance of biodiversity, have the student of SMA Negeri 1 Purworeho aware of biological richness around them? Regarding from the background, the problem that we face are how to improve student knowledge of biodiversity in SMA Negeri 1 Purworeho. Second, how to improve student awareness toward biodiversity in SMA Negeri 1 Purworeho. Third, how to promote biodiversity to increase the use of its potential.
The technique used to obtain the data was by distributing questionnaire via Google Form, which was carried out for a week, starting from May 1st to May 7th. This questionnaire has 3 close-ended questions. The first question takes the theme of students' knowledge and understanding of biodiversity. The second question takes the theme of students' awareness toward biodiversity in SMA Negeri 1 Purworeho. And the third question takes the theme of students' utilization of biodiversity. The purpose of distributing this questionnaire is to determine the knowledge, awareness, and how students use biodiversity in their learning process. The number of respondents is 105 students aged between 15 until 18 years old who were in grade 10th and 11th SMA Negeri 1 Purworeho. From the data above, it can be seen that students' knowledge and understanding of biodiversity is limited at 64.8%. From the data above, it can be seen that students' awareness toward biodiversity in SMA Negeri 1 Purworeho is relatively low at 15.2%. And from the data above, it can be seen that students has not been optimized the use of biodiversity in their learning process. The number of students who has used biodiversity in their learning process is at 21.9%. So, from the data, it can be concluded that the knowledge, awareness, and the use of biodiversity in SMA Negeri 1 Purworeho has not been optimized by the students and the school community. This number is below expectations to be able to promote and conserving the sustainability of the existing biodiversity.
Solution to this problem is the localized biodiversity online website. We call it Localized BO. Localized BO is the website which is managed locally, contains biodiversity information, photo, location, name, scientific name, classification, and general description of biodiversity in SMA Negeri 1 Purworeho. This website is expected to be able to help and assist students to learn about their surrounding environment. Knowledge of biodiversity can open new opportunities to optimize the use of biodiversity and improve student awareness toward biodiversity to preserve its sustainability. This solution is in line with the 15 Sustainable Development Goals. Therefore, we can conserve and halt biodiversity loss. This website is designed to be accessible via URL, so we can open it with the browsers such as Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, or Microsoft Edge. We also provide an access through QR code on SMA Negeri 1 Purworeho Keychain. Keychain was considered as interesting, easy to carry, and easy to access by anyone and anywhere. It also has the identity of SMA Negeri 1 Purworeho, making it a souvenir item the student must start on. Localized BO is an ongoing program that can be accessed by the school community, even anyone, wherever and whenever. Biodiversity data can be updated according to the current condition. After we distributed the website, we gave it 1 week before distributing the second questionnaire to compare the knowledge, awareness, and biodiversity utilization to know the impacts of localized BO.
From the second questionnaire, we find, first, student knowledge level has increased about 5.7%, from 64.8% to 70.5%. Second, student awareness level of biodiversity around them increased 31.5%, from 15.2% to 46.7%. Third, the utilization of biodiversity in SMA Negeri 1 Purworeho for learning process has increased about 29.1%, from 21.9% to 51%. The conclusion of our research is that localized biodiversity online website works effectively to increase the knowledge, awareness, and utilization of biodiversity in SMA Negeri 1 Purworeho. Our main goal is to maintain the sustainability of biodiversity, keeping it away from extinction. Lastly, let's start conserving our environment today for a better tomorrow. That's all from us. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's a Q&A session. I invite the audience to ask questions.
Assalamualaikum. So my main question is, how do you influence people into opening this BO website more frequently? As the problem with our current generation is that we don't like to open websites as often as we do back in the olden times.
Okay, thank you for the question. So can we open the Canva first? Below it. Okay, stop. So we provide an access through QR code. So in our school, kitchen was considered as interesting souvenir to student most thought on. So the student is frequently open it with a QR code on the keychain. It's actually universal to open with a browser because it can be accessed by the URL and QR.
For an added answer, so our school has a major subject as biology. So in this biology subject, the teacher might influence the student to open it, like when we have a project. So this website can make it easier for students to look for reference for the biodiversity around SMA Negeri 1 Purworeho.
Any other question?
This biodiversity had been declining abruptly because of climate change. May I ask, how can your solution has any relation to climate change issues?
Okay, let me answer it first. Thank you for the question. The relation of climate change and the solution is because from the biodiversity, climate change make biodiversity loss. So we can help the biodiversity loss with this solution through localized biodiversity online website. This website can be applied to any institution with any application with their way. In our way, we use keychain. We use keychain for interesting student. Okay.
So our main topic is about biodiversity of plants. As we know, plant produce oxygen and take carbon dioxide from the air. So we can help this earth to reduce the heat, so the climate change doesn't. So we can decrease the climate change with the help of the plants.
And other answer is the website can obtain the school projects. Examples
research.
We plans some trees, so we can increase the oxygen, so the climate change is not increased, and the science projects to aware the human searches for through the website.
Let me add for the last time. So climate change might decrease the biodiversity around us, right? So this website is used to promote the conservation of biodiversity, so it doesn't go extinct. That's why we need to conserve it with this solution, so we still have we can maintain the sustainability of biodiversity around us. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for all the questions. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have come to the end of our friend's presentation from Sekolah Menengah Atas Negeri 1 Purworeho. Thank you for the interesting and informative presentation. Now, I would like to invite Sekolah Menengah Sains Machang to present.
Thank you to moderator. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from MACHANG Science Secondary School, and today we are going to present and discuss about our topic regarding SDG 15, Life on Land, with our title being Agroecology, More Agriculture Outwits, Less Ecological Hiccup. So before we start, let me introduce our team members first. My name is Muhammad Hazimin Ayub, and beside me is my partner presenter, Zulfa binti Muhammad Radi. And you can see here our lovely dedicated teacher, Madam Fatin Amira, and not forget to our chaperone, Madam Narizan. And here we have our technical assistant, Naim Mirza, and at the back we have our team moderator, Sofia Hana. So next, moving to our problem statement, which I can highlight is that most agricultural practices nowadays have led to environmental degradation, which pose a significant challenge in sustaining ecosystem health. Next, moving to from our literature review, we found that around 80 to 90% of world land farming are dedicated to unhealthy farming practices. As you can see here, this contributes to 33% of world soil being highly degraded and 36 to 37 billions of metric tons of carbon dioxide being released every year. Next, before we move to our topic, let me explain first about our Sustainable Development Goal, SDG 15. SDG 15, Life on Land, was established by United Nations in 2015 as a part of 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. It is crucial in ensuring the well-being of all life on Earth. So next, moving to our objective. First, we aim to promote and develop agroecology. And second, we aim to enhance soil and fertility. And the last one, we aim to empower farmers with agroecological knowledge and skills. Next, so what is agroecology actually? Agroecology is an agriculture practice that integrates principles from agrology and ecology with the particular emphasis on enhancing soil health. Next, I will show you some examples of agroecology. First and foremost, we got crop rotation. It is a technique where different types of crops are planted in a cycle to be replace the nutrients. And next, we got cover cropping, where crop known as a cover crop is grown to benefit the soil fertility rather than harvest. These crops are planted where the main crop is not growing. Lastly, we got a conservation tillage. It is a practice which minimizes the disturbance of soil to promote biological activity and diversity of soil organisms. Next, let's talk about the benefits of agroecology. Agroecology can improve soil structure by reducing tillage, this ensuring healthy root development and better nutrient availability. Additionally, it contributes to economic growth by optimizing efficiency of agriculture systems. And other than that, biodiversity can be boosted when multiple crop species are grown, thus increasing habitat diversity for various organisms. Next, pests and diseases can be managed when crop rotation is done because their life cycles will be interrupted. Here, next are the some proof that we do. We did some literature review and we found that agroecological farming method resulted in 79% more yield than conventional method. We also found that agroecology could improve soil fertility and productivity. Next, agroecology almost promote higher levels of biodiversity in soil compared to conventional monoculture systems. Now, you can listen to this clip for the audio recording of our interview with technologist Dr. Shaparas regarding our topic, agroecology.
Amalan pertanian yang lestari ni kita dapat mengurangkan kesan terhadap alam sekitar yang negatif.
Okay, As you just heard, she approved that agroecology has various of benefits, as I just explained just now. I think it has been a long explanation from me. Now allow me to pass my job to my presenter partner, Zulfa.
All right, so now here are a few methodologies that we have done throughout our research. All right, next. We did pre and post questionnaire, literature review, survey, interview, and also a community engagement. So this is our pre-result for our pre and post questionnaire. As we can see, 2/3 of the respondents were familiar with agroecology, yet their understanding of its principle was deficient. This demonstrates the insufficient public education on agroecology. All right, next. Additionally, we discovered that their perception is that agroecology is not beneficial to ecosystem due to their lack of understanding regarding its advantages. Next. So after we did the pre-questionnaire, we introduced the concept of agroecology to the respondents by distribution of pamphlets and also by presenting a brief video about its principles to extract their thoughts and opinions on the subject. Alright, after we introduce the respondents with agroecology, it is evident that all of them are now acquainted with the concept with average knowledge of 8.5 out of 10. After being taught about agroecology, we found that they are now open in using it since they understood its importance. This suggests that agroecology is a good fit for small farmers, yet they still need more exposure to it. As we might aware that small farmers lack good internet access. So this is one of the factors to their limited exposure to agroecology. So this is how we promote agroecology. Actually, we have done some community engagement where we help the small farmers at their farm while exposing them about agroecology. And next, we also went to farmers' house to introducing them about agroecology. And we observed that all the farmers are pleased and willing to imply these agroecological practices into their current farming practices. So here you can see a footage, one of our members, Hazim, interviewing a local farmers, Miss Asmawati, regarding agroecology.
Adakah puan rasa kaedah agroekologi ini dapat dipertingkatkan atau diaplikasikan di Malaysia? Jika ramatan macam saya tahu, dia boleh dipeningkatkan.
As we can see, when asked about implementation about agroecology, they agree that more exposure should be given to farmers like her. Alright, next. Alright, now, before we end our session, let me break up into small conclusion. Here, we can conclude that agroecology offers a sustainable approach to agriculture. Increasing awareness about agroecology could enable agricultural practices to meet food demand without harming the ecosystem. So for our hope for the future, we can learn that agroecology is already widespread throughout Europe. So we really hope that in our country and our neighboring countries could imply these agroecological practices in our current agriculture activities so that we could all gain the benefits from it. So I think that's all from us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, I would like to invite the audience to ask questions. If there's no questions from any audience, I would like to invite the judges to ask questions.
All right, Assalamualaikum. Okay, well done with the presentation. Quite clear. All right. Okay, I noticed that you showed us your result of the outputs that you gained from the questionnaire that you conducted. And I noticed that you gained from the pre-questionnaire, you had about 33.3 and 66.7 percentage, which is like literally a third and two-third. But I think could you please like enlighten me more about the demography of the respondents, because I noticed that many of them like are lacking the knowledge about agroecology. So I wonder if they are all farmers or if they are consisting of separate backgrounds.
Yes. All right. Thank you for the question. So around 50% of our respondents are students.
And other than that,
we got farmers and teachers to answer the questionnaire too. And also some lecturers from various universities. For their age, most of the respondents are around 20 to 30 years old, and some of them are 50 to 60. And yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Sure.
Okay, first of all, congratulations on a very good presentation, right? So you'll be talking about agroecology. So I was wondering, within your research, have you come across a major downside or something that you think that is most notable, a downside of agroecology that you might want to share with us?
From our research, we have not found any articles or the downside of agroecology. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you, judges, for the questions. Thank you, SM Science Machang, for your interesting presentation.
Macam mana?
3, 2, 1. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a good morning to everyone. Today, I'm 437-792 Putra Syarul Nikris Iskandar bin Syari Izwan. You can call me Nikki, and I am the first representative for today.
And I'm 437-957 Putra Muhammad Johan Fikri bin Jari. You can call me John, and I'll be your second presenter for today. And on my right, we have our technical assistant.
And in the audience, we have right, John. During the excursion, right, where we go through the fascinating places in Perlis, I have made something of a conclusion. What is it, do you think?
I think while we were in the Kampung Warna-Warni, don't you feel it was getting a little hotter?
But why is it getting hotter? What do you think is causing that?
I think I've heard it before. It was something in the news. It starts with C.
C.
Climate change.
Oh, I thought it was cookies. So, what about climate change?
It's a problem.
Problem. So
Big
it's a
problem.
Big problem. What
Yes.
about problems?
Solutions.
Solutions. And what is our solution?
Biodiversity.
Nature's climate shield. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a little skit from RMC to set up our little presentation to carry on with it. So, in our introduction, we shall be continuing with our second presentation first.
So, why we chose biodiversity? It is because we believe biodiversity and climate change are two sides of the same coin. Meaning, if we are to protect biodiversity, we will at the same time reduce and decrease the rate of climate change. So, the definition of biodiversity is variety of all living things and their interactions.
Now, on to the problem statement. So right now, our major problem is climate change, because climate change contributes to things like increase of heat and also droughts. This causes shifts in diversity and also plant losses. When those two things occur, it can disrupt the ecosystem. And when the ecosystem is disrupted, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, it causes big problems.
The said problems include the farmers' availability to yield crops from some kind of plants and crops from some plants, and the quality of food that the human can produce. So this is a big major problem that we are currently facing. So the objective for our research is to provide better understanding on the impact and setbacks of climate change to Malaysia and other countries all across the globe.
So right now, the common setbacks that we have in Malaysia, in Malaysia and also countries all across the globe includes things like increase of heat, flood, drought, landslide. And ladies and gentlemen, these are the most commonly found all across the globe, including Malaysia. So for our qualitative research, right, we have two methods, which is mixed methods and also data analysis. What we mean by mixed method is that we shall go through the internet to see through sources that we can use, and any sources that we can find available can be kept and be reserved for our first thing. So the second one is data analysis. So the sources that we have kept and reserved, we shall go through it properly and see what can be used. The main points that are very helpful shall be used, and the ones that don't shall be thrown away. So that is that. So the instrument is right now questionnaire, and questionnaire shall be explained by John.
So for the instrument that we are using, it is questionnaire. We ask around 20 respondents, 10 minority students of RMC aged around 16 to 17, and 10 RMC staffs and teachers. So it came to a finding, the answers to the questions.
So for our findings, we asked those staffs and teachers, also students, 10 questions. And in those 10 questions, we decided that we shall split it into two. And when we split it into two, those 5 questions shall be compiled and oversimplified into one question. And the other 5, we do the same. So for the first question, does the society have a sense of awareness about climate change? To this, we have found in our findings that the majority of the respondents respond with a big yes, a 70%, and the minority that says no, only 23%.
So for the second question is, does the society think the issue on climate change can be resolved solely through human efforts? So an 82% of the respondents said, yes, we can solve it. And the other 18% said, No, we do not.
That's a shame because I really thought we could get 100.
So for the second finding is the effects of climate change. So we found out that human activities are the root cause for climate change happening, and it is currently causing a big issue to the world, especially to humans, in many situations such as land degradation, droughts, and floods. So with all these problems that the world is facing, humans has come to a realization and came to a determination to fight against climate change and protect biodiversity. So the efforts that the humans are currently implementing, such as establishing and managing protected areas and rehabilitating degraded habitats through reforestation, wetland restoration, and other methods that can help protect and restore ecosystem function.
Without further ado, these are suggestions that we would like to give out for everyone that is currently here. Right now we have two, which is promote climate smart conservation, increase, all right. So what about promote climate smart conservation? So climate smart conservation, what is it? Basically, climate smart conservation is a new way of thinking on how we're going to protect our biodiversity and environment. It is also about developing and implementing solutions that are effective under a range of potential futures. Now, before we go through another slide, what is SMART? SMART actually stands for something, which is, as we can see, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time. What about SMART? In order to make a climate smart conservation solution, it has to be smart about it.
So for the second suggestion is to increase public awareness. So why we increase public awareness? It is to gain public support and cooperation in the efforts of trying to protect biodiversity and to reduce climate change. So how are we going to do this? It is by using a variety of delivery mediums, such as using social media, newspapers, and news headlines to inform the public masses about the dangers of climate change and why we should protect it.
Right. So for the conclusion of our slide, so climate change is the major problem right now, correct? So climate change is actually caused by human activities mainly, also caused naturally, but mainly human activities. Because of this, humanity also would like to solve this problem. And if this is a race to win against an emergency, then we would like to serve everyone to lead. So for our citations, these are the sources that we have found in the mixed methods that we have said, and also the data analysis. Thank you very much for listening to our slide, and we appreciate for everyone to be here. Thank you very much from RSE.
Thank you, Royal Military College, for your presentation. Now I would like to invite the audience to ask questions.
Okay, Assalamualaikum. So my question is, how can artificial intelligence be added to improve the climate change condition? Do I need to rephrase my question?
Again?
Okay, so you know about artificial intelligence, right?
Yes.
How can that be implemented into helping us solve this climate change problem?
Okay, so let me answer your question. As you can see in our slide, we were talking about how we can protect biodiversity to reduce climate change. And I do not think that I see any word including artificial intelligence. So to continue on, we can implement artificial intelligence by using it to produce new methods and how we can calculate the losses, the profits that we get from using all the materials to protect the biodiversity. However, I believe that I would rather have questions that have something to do with our presentation.
By the way, it is called assessing vulnerabilities. What you just said. Any other questions? Yes?
Hi. Okay, can I know the stakeholder that include in your parameter?
I'm sorry?
Can I know the stakeholder
Oh,
that include
sure.
the parameter?
Please go to the, oh, never mind. For our stakeholders are, as we said, staffs and teachers for RMC and students who range around 16 to 17. We do not include 13, 14, 15 because we don't use any Form 1s to Form 3s. So it's only Form 4s and Form 5s. And also the RMC's teachers and staff. And one of them is over here.
So to add on to that information, why we chose minority students instead of like the other majorities, these minority students are representatives or like of like their own states. For example, like one is like from Perlis, one is like from Perak, Sabah, Sarawak, and like only 10 people. We only take like around 10 people to not like complicate the situation. Thank you.
They're very busy, by the way.
Thank you, Royal Military College, for your interesting presentations. All of you may take a seat now.
Hormat ke hadapan. Hormat. Hormat. Pimpin. Dari tegak kiri. Bertiga-tiga. Kiri, sing. Ke kanan.